Take us through the 2011 trade back home. We need to have another drink to that?
Yeah,
okay, let's get another drink to that. Yeah.
2011. Contrary to what everybody believed, I didn't want to leave Denver. You know what I'm saying? I never told people that, but I never wanted to leave Denver. But it's like they put my back against the wall. We go to the Western Conference Finals in 2009. What you supposed to do? You're supposed to build on that. Supposed to add a piece here, plug and play. Don't mess the core up. They got rid of Dante Jones, right? And on that team, Dante was a key piece on that team. Get rid of Dante Jones. They like, we ain't re-signing Chauncey. We about to trade JR. Kmart, you know what I'm saying? Contracts is up. And the lockout was coming. So I'm like, I'm not about to rebuild. I'm not gonna rebuild after we done went to the Western Conference Finals. We supposed to be building, not rebuilding.
Right.
And I went to him, I'm like, look, I don't wanna go, but if y'all gonna rebuild, it's time for me to go somewhere else. And New York was a destination, but I had to go through so much. Jersey was at the time, you know, Jersey would come because they had all the picks. George Karl wanted me to go to Utah. I'm like, I would stay here, I'll play through the lockout. I ain't about to go to Utah for no reason. Because at the time, he wanted the young boy Derrick Favors. He wanted the young boy, so.
Word, that was
like, man, after that trade, I'm like, I better have a trade clause, because anything can happen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I come to New York, and just that Amari was here, he was rolling. You know, he came that year before me. Ray Felton was here, they was rolling. They were supposed to be all-stars together. And I remember I got married in New York, and they come to the wedding. And I remember I'm on a boat, and we in front of the Statue of Liberty, and they start playing I'm From New York with Jay-Z. And I'm just like in the front of the Statue of Liberty, and I had a moment, and I'm like,
chill.
I said, yo, I gotta come. Like, I gotta get to this. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing the energy in New York, and I'm like, if I'm gonna go anywhere, I gotta be on the biggest stage. I gotta perform on the biggest stage, because my time in Denver was already, I already peaked in Denver. And you know, they small market teams like that, or secondary market teams like that, it would have took them a long time to really get the pieces. Nobody was really coming to Denver like that. They did a great job of putting our team together.
Right. So what was it like to come home and jump in the mix, and then you guys are in the playoffs your first 2 years? What's that although you guys lose in the first round, what's that energy like to come back home, and then you got to the hometown team in the playoffs?
It wasn't nothing like it. And I tell people all the time, you ain't see nothing or experience nothing until you in the Garden when it's rocking. You understand? When it's rocking, there's no better place in the world to be in. So for me, that's home for me every night.
Right.
But on the flip side of that, I had to perform. Like, you ain't coming here because they gonna let you know. You know what I'm saying?
Especially you.
Especially me. You know, we gave away the whole team for you. You know what I'm saying? We gave away the whole team, we gotta come in the ball. So I embraced that, I wanted that pressure. And I also knew a lot of people didn't want that coming to New York. They didn't want that pressure.
So 2013, you guys win 50 games, beat Boston in 6, fall to the Pacers. You kind of feel like you guys are making progress at that point?
We're making progress. It's like, I feel like I won a championship after we beat Boston. You know what I'm saying? We beat them. We supposed to sweep them that year. You know what I'm saying? JR gets suspended, but we supposed to sweep Boston. I'll say that on the record. But I felt like it was a championship for me because of just how much you hear about New York, Boston. And it wasn't just basketball, it was baseball, it was football, it was high school, it was like street shit. It's like, I'm a part of that, and I'm the focal point of that. Nah, beating Boston was like one of the biggest moments, and they was tough, you know what I'm saying? They was tough, the big three, they carried it like that. And I knew in order to beat them, we had to carry it. We had to be on that same type of time they was on.
So you come in on a high, and then reality sets in when struggle starts kicking in.
Facts.
It's a tough place to be when y'all not winning. What was that like for you mentally?
So I said it's the best place to be.
And the worst.
And the worst place to be.
I can see it.
And I always observe, right? I always look, listen, and observe, and I'm always see how other athletes dealt with shit here in New York. And I would sit back and be like, yo, if that was me, I wouldn't deal with it like that. I would deal with it like this. He doing it the right way. All right, Jeter, he doing it the right way. This person ain't. You know what I'm saying? I seen how athletes they build you up and they kick the chair from underneath for you here in New York.
Yeah.
And I never wanted to be that, so I always stayed solid with the media. Even though I ain't like talking to them, win, lose, or draw, I stood up. I stood tall after the game. If we lost, it was on me. It wasn't on nobody else. I never blamed anybody else. So I dealt with it, and I think I reaped the benefits of, staying solid at the end of it.
The benefits of being real is so beneficial.
Absolutely, absolutely.
What could you change if you could from that time? What would you change?
From the Knicks? I think just the way that shit was handled.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like the
How
way
you
that,
was handled.
You know what I'm saying? How I was handled personally.
Right.
I would change that. I would want them to communicate with me a lot more than what was going on. You know what I'm saying? And when Phil came, it was just like he cut that line of communication off from me with the front office, with staff members, even players. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, like, you talking to him about me, you going to him talking to him about you is...
But I'm right here.
I'm right here. And the minute that I knew that was the game that was being played, I'm like, nah.
Even we had CB Brickley here yesterday, and he was like...
Brick was there?
But he was like, when Derek Fisher was there, he was like, he was low-key jealous of the relationship that y'all had.
Man,
you know
look,
what I'm saying?
man, because I'm big on bringing other people up.
Yeah.
And Brick was he was a rebounder for us. And I gravitated towards him.
Yeah.
I seen he was in the gym all day, all night. I'm talking about the hours that they had him working was crazy. No, nobody should work that much.
But he didn't complain.
He didn't complain, so I'm like, I'll call him, yo, meet me at the gym, I'm coming back up. What time? Nah, I'll be there. He rebounding. So before practice, after practice, I would look for him. You know what I'm saying? I would be looking for Brick. And they hated that shit. We also had Kenny Atkinson was in the same position that Brick was in at that point in time. But I'm going to Brick. I'm like, I feel comfortable with him. I can confide in him, he can confide in me. I know his struggle and what he's trying to do.
Right.
And I told him, I said, I got you. Like, I got you. I'm gonna make you my trainer, I got you. Fuck what they talking about.
Right.
I got you.
So you mentioned Phil. I mean, obviously with that relationship, you think Phil Jackson, you think this and that, but once he actually gets there, it's not what you guys think. Has there ever been any closure? Because obviously, the friction has been publicized. Has there ever been any closure between you and Phil?
Nah. I mean, I don't need closure. You understand?
Okay.
It is what it is.
I stood tall during my time, so it is what it is. You feel the way that you feel about me. You say what you got to say about me. I know if I had to sit down with you, you wouldn't say that. You would say something totally different. You're gonna tell me, it wasn't like that. So I ain't really got time for that.
You don't need it.
I don't need it at this point.
Yeah.
Part 3 of your Knicks experience, deciding it's time to go. What was that? How tough was that?
It was tough because I didn't want to leave the Knicks either. You understand? I didn't want to leave, even though, like, we was losing. I'm like, I still don't want to leave. Like, this is me. I came here for a reason. This is where I'm ending it at. And for some reason, man, that man he used to, like, tell me everything in the book without telling me, get out.
I thought you was a lifer with the Knicks, I can't lie. I thought you was gonna retire there.
That's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do. And I'm talking about every time, man. It's just like, he telling me shit to just basically, like, pushing me towards the door. And I know he pushing me, and I'm like, nope, I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere.
Trying to get you to hang yourself?
Trying to get me hanging myself, man. And honestly, like, Phil, I probably had 3 conversations, man. This whole time he was here. We never talked like that. If we talk, we would sit in the room, his office, lights out, couple candles, you know what I'm saying? And we would watch film. And he would teach me how to break the triangle. You understand? Like, he would teach me, like, yo, this is what you gotta do. So I learned it so crazy, but I think he was a little sick that I learned it before from Cole and MJ. Like, I used to sit with them and ask him, yo, what's up with this triangle? And Cole used to, we sit down.
Cole was the master of breaking the triangle.
And I think Phil hated that shit, the fact that I figured it out. On how to get to my spots, how to get what I really wanted out of that. So he used to always say I was manipulating the offense. But bro, like, I'm trying to get to it.
That's what you needed, though.
That's what I needed.
Yeah.
And he wasn't flying with that.
That's funny.